ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिनि। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषण्यवादी कष्टत्वदेशतारिणे वंशागल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। रामाय राम भद्राय रामचंद्राय वेदसे नाथाय रघुनाथाय सीताये पतये नमः। कुजंतम राम रामेति मधुरम मधुराक्षरम गिरम आरुह्य कविता शाकम वंदे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम। So we will continue the Gunasagara, Gunarnava, Sri Ramachandra's, the ocean of gunas, qualities. So we'll continue to discuss the Saulabhyatvam, or the first quality, Gunavan. Yesterday we saw the integration between Gunavan and Viryavan. They are interdependent. Gunavan without Viryavan cannot contribute anything, and Viryavan without Gunavan can be brutal, harsh, and cruel. So this is the only quality, this combined qualities makes the Bhagavan to be avatar, accessible, at the same time powerful also, right? So the accessibility today, it is explained that this quality, accessibility, is called as Guneshwari. Guneshwari means the queen of all qualities, right? Because when somebody is so powerful, one hesitates to come closer to them. Even if it is very close friend of yours, a childhood friend, if he becomes a police commissioner, if he becomes a chief minister, if he becomes a prime minister, on your own you cannot approach them as a friend as you used to approach in your childhood. They have to take that initiative. They have to tell the friend, come on, you still remain my friend. There is no barrier between you and me. So therefore, when the Supreme Bhagavan comes here and allows that accessibility to everyone, then they feel the comfort. Therefore, this quality is the queen of all qualities, Guneshwari. What is that quality? Saulabhyatvam, Gunavanta, Gunagya. And we see that when Sri Ramachandra, when he met with Guha. Now, what is the quality of Guha and Sri Ram? What is their personality? What is their background? What is their upbringing? There is a contradiction between the two. Huge contradiction. There are no similarities. Therefore, in the regular world, however much people talk about socialistic philosophy, the elite class, when they speak about the socialist philosophy, they talk about equality of everybody sitting in their hi-fi seat. It takes great courage, it takes great sympathy, it takes great empathy to interact with everybody. And therefore, Drupad in the Mahabharata makes it very clear. He said, friendship can only happen with equals. Right? Friendship cannot happen without the equals. If it happens, then there is an agenda of being a friend of a rich person to use his resources or a rich person using his poor friend as his slave. Hmm? But with Sri Ram and those who represents Ram's qualities, they do not have any agenda. So Ramachandra Bhagavan with Guha, he acted so close with him. One of the qualities of Lord Ram, when he came in touch with Guha, he embraced him. उनको गले लगाया. And Sri Ramachandra walked up to Shringaberpur and Guha came close to him. And what a friendship between the two. Sri Ram accepted Guha as one of his brother. In fact, some of the Vaishnava commentators explain Ram was not happy having only 3 brothers. Right, in those times, 2 brothers, 3 brothers, 2 sisters, 3 sisters was not considered as sufficient. Very less. Imagine nowadays the children tell their parents, I don't want anybody other than myself. But here Sri Ramachandra was not satisfied with having 3 brothers. Therefore, he went to the forest looking for more brothers. He accepted Guha as his brother. He accepted Sugriva as his brother. He accepted Vibhishana as his brother. He couldn't stop accepting brothers, friends, acquaintances, right? Becoming attracted to their qualities. That was the beauty of Sri Ramachandra. And when he met with Jatayu, in what conditions Sri Ramachandra met Jatayu? Jatayu was lying in the pool of blood, almost about to lose his life. Yes, initially there was a misunderstanding because affection for Sita Devi. He thought this Rakshasa in the form of vulture must have eaten my wife. But when he heard from Jatayu, his connection, his contribution, his dedication and his sacrifice, Sri Ramachandra became so Jatayu Swabandhu eva dukkita. He considered Jatayu to be his own person. He said, what is the point going anywhere? This person has done so much for me. Sri Ramachandra, being attracted to Jatayu, had Jatayu on his lap. That opportunity Dashrath Maharaj did not receive. Dashrath Maharaj passed away from this world in separation of Ram, being angry with Kaikeyi, feeling terribly upset for offending his great wife Kaushalya. There were conflicting emotions. But Jatayu was on the lap of Sri Ramachandra. Bhagavan Ram did everything which a son does for the father. And beyond that, Sri Ramachandra could not hide his position as the Bhagavan who had told all the devatas never to address him as God, because he was supposed to perform the pastime in such a way to show people how a human being can go high in regards to setting an example. Right? He sent Jatayu to the Saketa Dham, glorifying and sending crying tears, offering Shraddha, and making our Lakshman also perform the same thing. There is a beautiful story, Vibhishan, the great Vibhishan. We all know how Sri Ramachandra accepted Vibhishan in the most difficult times. During the war time, you don't accept your enemy close to you because they can betray, they can create turmoil, they can create havoc. But we discussed that Ramchandra proved his credibility. I am magnanimous. At the same time, if somebody betrays, I can destroy them. Viryavan and Gunavan. But here, one day Vibhishan was telling Ravan to explain this quality of Gunavan. He was telling Ravan, my dear brother, it is not right on your part to hold back Sita Devi because she is the loyal wife of Ramachandra. And since she has come to Lanka, we have seen what has happened. The first time Lanka was penetrated by a monkey, of course, is Hanumanji. And then he said, not only that, my dear brother, the Lanka, your golden Lanka was burnt. Many part of Lanka was burnt. Your son was killed. Your soldiers were killed. Your Ashoka Vatika was destroyed. I think Sita is not auspicious for Lanka. Now the purpose of telling to Ravan to scare him, to make him fearful, to take shelter of Sri Ramachandra, send back Mother Sita, but unconsciously Vibhishanji put the blame on Sita Devi for whatever is happening on Lanka. Now Lakshmi cannot take it. She is there. Wherever Lakshmi Devi is there, it gives rise to prosperity. It is not Lakshmi Devi herself, it was Ravan who was responsible. Right? So there was a krodha, there was anger in Lakshmi Devi. That is Sita Maya. And therefore, when she expressed this anger, right, but still Sri Ramachandra, he acquired the quality of his Sita Devi in himself. He became the personification of Sita Devi because all guna, all the feminine qualities, all the saulabhyatva is nothing but Daya Devi, which is nothing but Lakshmi Devi, which is nothing but Sita Mata. Now that very Sita Devi is not willing to give her compassion, look at Vibhishan, then who can save you? This is the only story when the goddess of fortune is upset. Of course, there is a krodha which is connected to rasa, and therefore Sri Ramachandra, he is looking towards the southern direction in the form of Ranganath Swami, because nobody can stop him from giving that compassion, that saulabhya, that magnanimity. And therefore, our great acharyas, our great Valmiki Maharshi explains that Ripunamapi Vatsalyam, one of the qualities of Sri Ramachandra is Ripunamapi. Even if they're enemies, he will be extremely magnanimous to them because they can't misuse it. That is the beauty of it. And therefore, the saulabhyatvam, the Sausilyatvam, the qualities of guna, the separate quality, the gunavan quality has two components. One is caring and other is empowering. What does Sri Ramchandra do? In the beginning, those who are wayward, those who are lost, those who are broken, those who are having no shelter, first he nourishes them. Right? He nourishes them, and after nourishing them, he empowers them. Because nourishing without empowerment makes one what? Burden to the Supreme Lord. Right? Their nourishment has to make them stand on their own feet so that they can increase their contribution in the service of Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ram makes them samartha. Right? Jatayu, for that matter, what was not possible for the entire Pandavas, the great Bhishma Dev, great Dronacharya, everyone was there. They couldn't protect Draupadi Devi. They couldn't stand verbally with Draupadi Devi. They couldn't stand physically with Draupadi Devi. But on the other hand, by the greatness of Ramachandra and greatness of Sita Devi, a mere bird who was not even initiated, he had not followed any Vedas, he had not taken proper teaching from any guru, he was a bird, but he had such a power to verbally fight Ravan, convince Ravan about his misdeeds, giving him simple logic of not carrying burden more than what he can desire, and fighting him to such an extent, he laid his life for the sake of Ram Seva. He became the direction for building the bridge, Jatayu. That is the power of Lord Ram. What does he do? He does not simply care, along with caring, he empowers. And therefore, the second quality of Lord Ram is what? The Viryavan. Viryavan, the valor, the quality of valor is so glorified in our Shastras, right? Generally, most of the time, when the Supreme Bhagavan appears as an avatar in this world, what does he do? He does two things. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam. And therefore, Valmiki Maharshi, Raghuvir Gadya, and so many other literature which are glorifying Sri Ram, they call him as Raghuvira, Mahavira, and he is called as Veera, Veera Raghava. Right? All these names are connected to Sri Ramachandra's Veerata. Therefore, as we discussed, that the great Ramdas Swami, what does he say? He says that Sri Ramachandra is Jai Jai Raghuveera Samartha. Please understand, Ramachandra and Raghuveer, they have to go hand in hand. So the quality of Viryavan, it is explained, Vikara, Vikara, Akara and Vikara. There are all reasons for being disfigured. That is Vikara. Even though there are many reasons which are responsible for making us Vikara, shapeless, disfigured, still one who does not become disfigured, he is called as Viryavan. And second, those have all the powerful qualities, they are well shaped, but with the power of his Kala, right? Or simply by the glance, the Avatara Bhagavan makes other Vikara. Another interesting point, it is explained that Sri Ramachandra, he comes as an avatar. Yada yadai dharmasya glani, ete chamsha kalapumso. Right? That avatarohi asankyanam. How many avatars? Asankya avatara. How many srishtis? Asankya srishtis. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Right? So the Supreme Bhagavan appears again and again. He is responsible for srishti. He is responsible for sthiti. He is responsible for pralaya. Right? Damodara. Right? He takes all the prakriti in his udara and again brings it back. Imagine if somebody gives birth for one child, second child, third child, fourth child. What happens? It is known that they start losing their figure. Avikaratva kal ke prabhav se, by the power of time factor, avikaratva starts coming to them. Right? But none of this happen to Avatara. They remain fresh. Right? Nothing changes. And that is another quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Virya, one of the quality of Lord Ram, it doesn't matter what number the enemies are. He is not bothered by the number of the enemy. Only person, unlike the Bollywood people, Hollywood people, they are fighting 50 opponents. Right? They can't even do anything in their own house. They have hundreds of servants. Right? Lord Ram walked in the forest for 14 years without any of his shoes also. The Padukas were also taken by our Bharat. Right? So therefore, any adversity does not bother him. He has the power to destroy any number of adversity, right? Without being defeated. He easily defeats the enemy. He chases them away. He exhibits shaurya, virya, parakrama, right? So therefore, this quality of Sri Ramachandra is not only connected during his avataratva, but it is also connected on an individual level when a devotee calls for him. And the Bhagavan on his own feels, I need to come and give that special empowerment to the living entity. The process of empowering Jiva is an eternal reality. The process of establishing Dharma is time to time. Yada yadai dharmasya, when the Supreme Bhagavan decides, oh, this is the time, and therefore I will come and perform these activities. So therefore, when Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan, when he was fighting the 14,000 Rakshasas, we discussed that. But there was one more thing what is happening. All the Devatas, right, they had come here. They were watching the Supreme Lord Ramachandra to see how is he going to manage all this. Imagine this 14,000 Rakshasas with Khardushan. When they came to fight Sri Ramachandra, at least the Devatas felt that both the brothers can manage. But what happened? Sri Ram sent his brother Lakshman to care for Sita Devi. And single-handedly, when he decided to fight, Devatas were not very happy. They said, this is not correct. This is not the right match. But what kind of virata Sri Ramachandra exhibited? Ramachandra exhibited such a virata that the arrows were not seen. The bow was not seen. Ramachandra holding the arrows and shooting was not seen. What they saw was only the bodies of the Rakshasas were falling everywhere. And this is what Shurpanak also tells Ravan. This is what Akampana tells Ravan. When he was holding, when he was shooting, how was he doing? It was not actually visible, right? Therefore, Valmiki Raman explains that Alarka Chakra, when you take the fireball and take it around, whirl it around, what does it appear? It appears like many fire. Therefore, one great poet, Purandar Dasi, explains, this story is there in the Mahabharata about Ramchandra only. When Ravan sent his main Sena, one of the most powerful army, like his own bodyguard, they were so powerful that the Kapis got scared. They were running hither and thither. That time Sri Ram, what he did? He expanded. He expanded into so many forms. Illi nodidare Rama, alli nodidare Rama, ellalli nodidaru Rama. Wherever you see, everywhere he was there. And the Rakshasas could not handle the Virata of Lord Ramachandra. Within no time, the entire army of the Moola Sena of Ravan was totally destroyed. That is the power of Sri Ramachandra, right? And this was explained by Akampana also. Akampana saved himself by disguising as a woman, and he came explain exactly what he saw. In fact, he explained the glories of Sri Ram as different avatars. He can actually bring back the earth from nowhere. Varahadevi was explaining. He was discussing about the Vaman avatar also, how powerful he is, right? And Ravan, when he was agitated by Shurpanaka, provoked by Shurpanaka, what does Ravana do? Ravana comes to Maricha. When he comes to Maricha, Maricha says, my dear Ravan, He said, this entire war with Ram is like opening of the Patal. And Ram is the mouth of that Patal. And his bow is like a crocodile, fierce release of arrows, like a whirlwind. So therefore, is there any chance, my dear Ravan, that you'll not be swept away by Ram's force? So better you go home. Actually, Ravan went back to his place. He went back to his place, but Shurpanakha came again to him. She blasted, she tempted him, she told about the greatness of Sita Devi. But then how does Ravana ask Shurpanakha? He says, Kashrama Katam Viryam. You can see the fear. Kim Rupam Kim Parakrama Ayudam Kimcha Ramasya Nihita Ena Rakshasa. Right, is asking all this question to Shurpanakha. Who is he? What kind of weapons does he have? What does he do? How do I deal with him? Right? And then when it comes to Marich, giving him the ultimatum, Marich explains, my dear Ravan, this is the greatest stupidity you can do. And it tells his second time story when he tried to harm Ram, how Ram threw him away. And therefore, anything which begins from Ram, right? Unfortunately, for many years, the Ram Naam was considered as an aggression by secularists, by the liberals, by the anti-Sanatan Dharma forces. They are all followers of Marich. Right? अरे इससे डर होता है अरे मरीच के फॉलोअर है right? And therefore Marich explains vrikshe vrikshe hi pashyami chira krishna nijambaram. He says, I see pasha hasta ivam antakam. He is like an antaka, he is a destroyer. Therefore better do not go back to Ram and fight him. That was the Marich. He tried hiding himself. So that is the Viran of our Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Ravan did not notice. He came to fight eventually. And after the death of all of his followers, when Ravan came to fight Ram within no time, he beat up Ravan to such an extent, Ravana's own chariot driver, he took him away. When you took him away, Ravan chastised him. He said, wow, how could you do this? This is not correct. I had the opportunity to fight this great warrior. Therefore, even the enemy like Ravan was not free from glorifying the qualities of Ram's Viryata. And therefore, this Virata of Sri Ramachandra became the inspiration. Tell me, where in the world those religions other than the Abrahamic faith have reclaimed their lost temples, lost culture? It is not possible only. Therefore, it was not only human endeavor. Along with the human endeavor, it was the empowerment of Sri Ramachandra, where you see that large temple in Ayodhya, as if coming from the Saket Loka, giving that confidence. We had gone again recently, and those people who have rare connection with Adhyatmikta, yes, they had a connection to Bharatiyata, no doubt. They said, wow, what a befitting answer. What a befitting answer. Right? That gave rise to confidence, that gave rise to gratitude, and certainly such gratitude will give rise to understanding the accessibility of Sri Ram, saying, wow, naturally from their mouth, Jai Shri Ram will come and Jai Sitaram will come. So therefore these two qualities of Sri Ram, Saulabhyatvam, Gunavan and Viryavan, are interconnected. Tomorrow we will understand the next two qualities, Dharmagyascha and Kritagyascha, understand the interconnection between the two, and then next 2 days we will discuss these two separate qualities. Thank you. Jai Sri Ram.